Okay. Oh, that's much better. Jesus. Um, so anyway, as I was saying, before I was so rudely interrupted by myself, which is ironic when you think about it, now I finally know how Tony feels. Waka waka waka. Anyway, as I was saying, I just needed to visit the little gamer's room before we started, and then I decided that a nice hot cup of tea might be just the thing to settle me in for the puzzle solving that lies ahead. I want to welcome everybody to the third installment of my Ether One live stream. Oh, that's good. And we are going to be working this evening in the Brimcliff industrial area of the game. As I was intoning last night, this is a part of the game that I have seen an awful lot of because I spent several days here mired in frustration and defeat. But the good news is that that's not going to happen tonight. Since I've explored the area so thoroughly, it's not going to be a problem. I want to say howdy to Andy Lon and Micro Maxima and everybody else who's joining in the chat room. I heard from a couple people on Twitter. I haven't checked Facebook yet to see if anybody responded to my Twitch stream announcement there. But you know what? Actually, let's do this right now. I don't need to announce that I'm live streaming on Twitter, do I? Because Twitch does that for me. Heavens Cloud. Good evening, everybody. Wonderful to have you all. Let me see. Yep, looks like I'm live on Twitch. And no, nobody responded on Facebook, which I guess means those people aren't really my friends or something. Anyway, as I was saying, Zagotten, welcome. That's great to hear. I should really start doing that. I mean, it seems like best practice to let everybody know what's happening, and then in this case, I just let everybody know when I was going to do it. I started streaming and then walked away from the computer for a few minutes. But maybe that gave everybody time to kind of get in the chat room and get settled in and all that nice good stuff. Anyway, welcome everybody to part 3 of the Ether 1 playthrough. As I was saying, this is the Brimcliff industrial area. I've spent a lot of time here, and so we're going to start with, ironically, this is one of the very first kind of hidden things in the level, and one of the very last things that I discovered. Canon Go Boom has just notified me on Steam that FTL on iPad is dated for April 3rd, which is fantastic freaking news. I'm really, really excited to hear that. That is going to be a very cool game on iPad, is what I predict. Anyway, as I was saying, this little thing right here is one of the very last things I discovered in this area of the game. But it's one of the first things you can come across, and that is another one of these out of place modern style phones, modern in air quotes in case you can't hear them, that has one of the apparently 6 voicemail messages from the unknown male voice. Let's listen in.
It's me. Why is it every time I call I seem to hit the machine? I'm gonna have to assume that you're doing okay since you never call me back. I'm gonna level with you. It's driving me crazy knowing you're in there. Call me, okay?
Let Viking Brent tell you guys something. That relationship is doomed. All right? The sound of that voice, the sound of the whatever it is that you're doing that's important to you, I'm uncomfortable with, and so I'm going to call you every 20 minutes to make sure you're okay. That is not the foundation for a relationship that will last. I'm telling you now, that man is doomed to heartache and heartbreak and both. And Jesus and the Bible as well. That's a very obscure reference. Anyone know if there's an Android version coming for FTL? I would just die if that were the case. I can't remember. You know, I don't want to get your hopes up unnecessarily, Andy Lon, but It seems to me they said something about like they were going to concentrate on the iPad version before looking at other platforms, but I can't remember if that was FTL that I read that about or a different game. But although I don't own an Android device myself, I would certainly like to see the game on Android for all of my Android-owning compatriots. Alrighty then. Where to start, where to start, where to start. This little board that you see here with these 4 currently unilluminated red lights, this is a... well, this is a real real interesting thing for me because I have history with this board, and I tell you, when the first time I got all 4 lights on this thing lit up during my my playthrough on the review code, I was pretty happy with myself. So I'm trying to decide where to start here. Let's just go topside for a second.
I'm really sorry for asking, but I thought I'd left them there.
You can see this is a pretty big environment. Again, we'll have 8 of these red ribbons, like you can see right there. We'll have 8 of those to collect in this area, and a lot of puzzles to solve. In terms of puzzles, this area has got lots of them, and some of them are quite challenging. And for some reason, I don't know why. I've got to check my shadow play settings, but something keeps trying to turn on the non-existent web camera connected to my computer, and I keep having to tell Shadowplay I don't want my non-existent web camera to be involved in my live stream. Although maybe, I don't know, maybe I should just plug up a camera and let everybody suffer through that experience. Alrighty, where to start? I tell you, it's interesting. These pressure control terminals, these are going to play a big role in what we're going to be doing. So I tell you what, let's just go down here for now.
Well, I must say, I'd hoped this case would have been solved by now. I know, I should take some of the responsibility. But I have given you every resource imaginable to complete this restoration.
Welcome, Arcturan Spy, and this game, Ether 1, is a first-person adventure game. It just came out this week. It's from White Paper Games, based in Manchester in the UK, and it is primarily a puzzle game. The particulars of the gameplay, as far as narrative and so forth, is the exploration of a woman's mind, a woman who is suffering from dementia, and you have entered her mind to try and thread together the fragmented pieces of her memory. This is my description. This is not coming from any kind of official source. This is just my read on the game. A lot of radios in the game. I try to turn all of them on. I don't know if I'm going to get an achievement for that or anything, but I live in hope. One of the keys to puzzle solving in Ether 1 is to just be observant and to look at everything in the environment and to take it in, because little pieces of information can come back and be the key to solving some puzzle that you're having a problem with. So just using this billboard as an example, let's look at what information we've got. So we have this shipment advice here. It's important to keep weather conditions in mind when attempting to deliver a shipment overseas, keeping a record of pressure changes with a barograph, and be sure to schedule your shipment based on the readings. And then down here we have this note that says Pinwheel Mines kept alive by New Deal with the USA. We see here that there is this very prominent red line indicating a shipment, a trade route for a shipment going from the UK to, I guess that would be the British Isles, to the US. Did I just... All right, you can't jump on that, but you can just accidentally step on top of it. That's interesting. All right, then we have an order confirmation here from Pinwheel Industrial Center in the England to New Jersey in the United States. And we see that we're shipping arsenic granules and powdered arsenic, 1,000 kilograms of each. And then we have this immigrant employment scheme notice. It says employing people of foreign origin is mostly encouraged and part of the new industry expansion scheme for the UK. Successful employment of immigrants to be met with benefits and tax. I'm not sure if for companies taking part in incentives, something tax, I don't know. Taking part in the scheme, benefits and reductions will be beneficial relative to the number of foreign employees registered to the company. All right. So, a lot of information there. Oh, and then there's this note here. Check valve pressure, random locker search, order more coffee, check weather reports. Okay, so the two pieces of information that really are getting hammered home on this billboard, or on this corkboard, is that we're shipping stuff to the United States, and that weather is a very big factor when shipping to the United States, and that's probably going to come back and mean something later. This board is interesting because you know, like any of these notes that you can read, like when you pick up and they actually come off of the bulletin board and float in front of you as if it were an item you could carry. Those are of special significance, and when you pick those up and you come back to the case, which is like your little virtual base of operations. Like think the Matrix. This is the construct in the Matrix. This is like the big white room where they can do whatever they want. This is like, you know, where they can kind of come to and reflect and think before going back out into the world that Ether 1 takes place in, which is actually, you know, you're in someone else's psyche. For those of you who haven't watched the other streams, who haven't played the game before, it's a game where you are using some scientific technology to enter the mind of a patient with dementia. So everything that you're seeing out in the world is a reality constructed from their memories. And the case is this is your cozy little industrial apartment base of operations. It's like a safe place for you inside of their psyche that you can return to. And to get back to the point I was making, those important notes, those things that you're going to pick up off bulletin boards, they will show up in this area of the case. And so any notes that show up here are going to have some important piece of information that you will need later on. So I'm sure that we'll come back to that. And then we're going to teleport back out. Andy Lyons says, game seems well made, a lot of attention to detail. It is. It's an exceptionally well made game, which is even more impressive given the fact that this is the debut title for the studio, as well as the 6 people who comprise the studio, White Paper Games. This is their first video game effort, and it's excellent. Can it go boom? I was just talking about you. How the hell are you, buddy? Thanks for that note on FTL on Steam. I appreciate that. I'm very excited. Let's see. What other notes do we have here?
That's amazing.
The voiceover you're hearing there from the woman Jean, that is the patient. That is the woman whose mind you have entered, and you are attempting to help her. That's her. Ore tramming, pressure relocation. Remember, I told you there's pressure relocation. That valve apparatus that was going to play an important role. Our tramming levels are unacceptable. Miners must meet their quota in order to maintain production levels. Workers are expected to take any measures necessary in order to increase tramming of ore. Mining warden. Miners caught smuggling ore will be prosecuted. Random searches will take place upon leaving the center. All miners are expected to cooperate as part of the fulfillment of their duties. So a couple of key pieces of information on this. We're getting some... Anytime the game gives you a bit of information about a process by which something works, like, you know, you go into a business and they have instructions on, do this procedure in this way, that is usually a subtle instruction to the player, because of a lot of the puzzles have to do with kind of reconstructing everyday life for the residents of this memory. So notes like this one and notes like this one are very important in that sense. Let's see what the paper says here. Brimcliff Mine passes into new hands. the Cornish Mining Company is offered by the troubled company. So